Yo, welcome back to another episode of Texas Underground. I am your host, JVaz, and as always, make sure you follow us on all the social media pages at The JVaz Show. This show is brought to you by La Conecta. We got air fresheners, we got the fuzzy dyes, we got the energy drinks, cut energy drinks, para andar al 100. We got the rolling trays. We got the rolling trays as well. And make sure you check them out at laconectabrand.com. Also brought to you by GT Distribution. If you're an independent artist looking to take your music to the next level, make sure you hit up gtdistribution.com. They'll help you take it there. Man, joining us today, man, and like I told this to you off camera, but I want to make it public as well because I want to give you your flowers.
Yeah.
But this man is a legend in Houston, HTown legend, a pioneer. Been doing this thing for 20 plus years.
Yeah, man.
And as I mentioned to you, and I'll tell the story here in a bit, but as I mentioned, if it wasn't for this man I'm about to have on camera, I wouldn't be sitting here doing what I'm doing.
Wow.
Joining us today, D Solo.
Wow. In the building, baby. What's happening there, Jack? That's what's happening, baby.
How you feeling?
Man, I've been doing good, man. You know, and thank you for having me on the show, man.
Oh, man,
Texas Underground, man. That's
thank
what's
you
happening.
for you know making time for us. And just to give the viewer a quick little story of what I told you about. I ain't gonna do the math because it's probably not gonna come on right. But in 2004,
Talk about back then.
back then in 2004, I was a high school kid. I knew I loved music. You know what I'm saying? I was big on hip hop, big on Spanish music, but that was it, right?
Yes.
And you know, used to do your little freestyles and stuff at school, and people be like,
Yeah.
"Hey, you sound cool, man. You should do something."
Yeah.
Like, nah, I don't know how. So, turn on the TV, Street Flavor's on. You're doing an interview. Shouts out to G-Man.
Yeah, a legend, another legend, man. Another legend, yeah.
And you interviewed him, and he said he was looking for artists.
Yes.
He's looking for artists to sign to his label, and I was like, you know what? Let me write down his address.
Yeah, let me take my shot.
Yeah, I wrote the
yeah.
address down, did a little, I can't remember if it was, I think it was a tape. I took a tape, recorded a couple tracks, sent it to them. I don't know, maybe like a month later,
Yeah.
get a phone call. I started talking to me, you're a minor? I said, oh, we need to talk to your parents. You know, so they pull up to the house, talk to my parents.
Yeah.
Got me into the music industry. And if it wasn't for that, I wouldn't be here right now. So thank you.
Man, everybody has to have that entry into it. You have, and especially right here in Houston, you know, it's hard to get in because it's a select group of people. And we're click tight. We pretty click tight. But yeah, man, that guy kept his word, basically. He kept his word.
Yeah.
You know, and those are the type of people we like to have on Street Flavor, man. But,
yeah, man.
I'm glad it was you, man. Was you flowing on the tape?
I'm glad it was me.
Did you tie it up? Was it like, did you?
Actually, listen to it now. I ain't gonna lie, it was trash. I felt like it was trash. It was trash. It could have been better.
Goodness.
But it was good enough to get my foot in the door. They did
Yes.
some tweaking here and there.
Yeah.
And, you know, put a project out. You know, things didn't go the way we would have liked. But that got me hooked.
There you go.
Got me hooked to now I can find my own studio, continue to do music.
Yeah.
And I continue to do it till I was like mid-20s.
Yeah.
And then I made the transition into media.
Yeah.
And 35 years old, here we are today. And again, thanks to Street Flavor, thanks to you.
That's what's up, man. That's what's up, man. You'd be a great interview, man. I'm thinking of questions to ask you, man. You know what I'm saying?
It's so again, it's an honor to have you on here. And I want to talk about your history, you know, because you're always doing the interviews.
Yeah.
So it's cool to have here and know your story.
Yeah.
For us, selfishly.
Man, you know, I like to say that, you know, this industry is so demanding, and it doesn't just happen overnight. You know, but I've had great mentors. You know, one of the first guys that let me into the industry, actually to listen to me, was Mean Green, another legend here in the city. You know. Mean Green dominated the radio airwaves when I was coming up. And something similar to you, I was, actually I did a demo singing, and Green heard it. And he was like, man, I like your voice, you may try radio, you know. So a couple of years later, I met him in the clubs because I actually, you know, was a club DJ. So I started mixing in clubs, got to all of the top clubs, and then you start meeting all of these people that are, you know, coming into the industry and that are building, you know, in your city. And Mean Green was one of those guys to kind of like take me under his wing, man, and really show me the industry and just industry etiquette. You know, a lot of these guys nowadays, they don't know industry etiquette, how to move in this industry. And it is a motion in this industry that you have to move by, or, you know, it's not going to be good for you.
Yeah.
So, you know, but yeah, you know, shout out to Mean Green, other people, you know, my brother Golden Boy, he's still in radio. He's in, I think he was in Philadelphia. I think he's in Minnesota now, running radio, doing maybe 2 stations down there. So, you know, yeah, just some OGs, man, that took me under their wing, and we're still good friends right now today. You know,
shouts out to them, because again, it's the domino effect, right?
It is, man.
It's a big domino effect. They touch your life, then you're touching mine and other people's lives.
Reach one, teach one, man.
Yeah.
You know, I just think Houston is good at that overall. You know, because you watch Street Flava, you understand how we move. You know, because it's no joke. I show it on Street Flava. You know, it is the streets. You know, I never had an office, you know, like that, to where I had offices, but I never taped in my office. It's always been on the streets of Houston, or on location, or moving around somewhere like that. So yeah, because of that, we're good at teaching our younger guys the next level, how to get there. And, you know, I'm sure as young guys watching you right now, someone's watching you and like, man, I'm gonna do that one day, or I'm getting ready to do that, you know. So yeah, it's all right, man. That's
and like you said, that's what it's all about.
Yeah,
passing it over. So like I said earlier, I want to talk about history.
Yeah,
want to get to know how D Solo ended up here today.
Right.
But originally you're from Corpus Christi.
Corpus Christi,
Texas.
Yeah, CC.
You end up in Houston, and your first, I guess, introduction to the industry was radio, you said? You got into radio?
Yeah, I got into Houston real young, man. I got here, I think I was in kindergarten, you know, so, but all of my relatives are still back in Corpus, you know, shout out CC. I got a lot of relatives back there. But yeah, I came here really young, you know, you know, I have a real rich music background when it comes to my family. A little town called Gonzales, Texas. I don't know if you ever heard of that. Okay, but Gonzales is Gonzales, Cuero, Seguin, those areas there. A lot of my relatives there, and they all played musical instruments. So I would run to Gonzales, Texas every summer. I want to get to Gonzales, Texas. So by the time I was of age, and you know, went through a couple of odd jobs and decided, okay, I'm gonna make my move, and I was gonna make my move into radio. Man, I felt like I was well groomed. I was overly groomed. I was ready.
Yeah.
I knew they wouldn't be able to handle me because of how my family had groomed me. I had greats in my family, so it was pretty easy for me to step into that light. You know?
Yeah. Your love for music, man, because like as I mentioned, 20 years in the industry, 20 plus years in the industry,
right?
It's not easy.
No, man, it's
right?
not.
So your love for music, how did that start? Obviously, you say your relatives, but like, who were you listening to? Who got you into? You know what? Hip hop, R&B.
Yeah,
that's what I want to. You know.
Yeah, well, man, I had a chance to see a lot of different music styles. You know, first of all, I'm a big blues fan. You know, I love the blues. My uncle Bud Harper was a huge Texas blues singer here, and had me on stage real early. You know, I had another cousin called O.S. Grant, a world-renowned trumpet player. Kept me on stage at a very early age. You know, if I had a tambourine in my hand, whatever, I was on stage. You know, so they were my inspiration. You know, some of the people that we listened to back in the day, and like I said, just going through the gender, man, like Confunction, you know, Gap Band, Parliament, you know, those are older bands that are still relevant right now today because the young guys are sampling them. They don't even know they're sampling them.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And some of the styles that you see and stuff like that. You know, just in hip hop, I mean, you know, Scarface, you know, Willie D, Ghetto Boys, you know, Big Mello, you know, those guys, we all came up together, you know, as far as in the industry. When I started, I was spinning their videos, you know, and really didn't care about the North. You know, it was strictly made for Street Flava was made for Houston, Texas. And I still, right now, keep a lot of the local guys on board because that's what it was built for. To do it in another city we would have to concentrate on their local people because
Yeah.
that's what I'm about. I'm about the next. I'm really not about the superstars. Once they become superstars, you very rarely, see them again. You know what I'm saying? So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you get introduced into the music industry. You became a DJ 97.9. You said Mean Green was.
Yeah, Mean Green was there. Golden Boy was there. Jimmy Olsen. These are legendary people. And who else? Wicked Cricket. Wicked Cricket was my boy, man. Another guy took me under his wings. Really taught me the motion of the industry. How to move around. Great people, man. Like people before me is where I, who I really bowed to and get a crown to because, they just didn't allow you to make mistakes back then. You had to be on point.
Yeah.
You had to be on point.
What was it like being in the radio back then, as not just personality, but for the artist, and compared to what it is today?
For the artists, it was great as far as here in Houston because we were. It wasn't ran by major companies. It was, but we had control of it. The city had control of it. They were letting the local DJs, the guys that were in the clubs, the guys who were on the street, that they were grabbing us and bringing us into the DJ booths, and we controlled it. So that's how Houston really got its sound because we were fighting for Kiki, we was fighting for Slim Thug, we was fighting for Bun B and Pimp C and all these guys to be on radio, Rap a Lot, to be on radio. And it right now today, you coming into Houston thinking you're gonna just play a lot of national music. It doesn't work. We have a lot of great artists here, even on a local level. They shoot on a national level, So it's that's why it's so hard to get on the radio here in Houston, even if you are a local guy. It's hard, man, because it's a big city. And everybody wants Street Flavor.
Yeah.
Everybody wants on 97.9 or 93.7, and so on and so on. 102. It's a crazy city to hold that many radio stations.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you get into the radio station. Mm-hmm. What sparked that? You know what? Let's take this, but into the visual. Get on TV,
Right.
and play the music videos, and it's same but different.
Right. One day I was, I think I was doing a late show at that time. Somebody had missed, and I was on the late show, and the morning show was getting ready to come on, and they were going over to WB 39, but how I started at the box was, by the time I had the chance to go over to get behind a mic, I was driving the van at the box. I started off driving the van at the box. Went from driving the van, that was my way in. My homie was like, okay, Golden Boy told me, hey man, I can get you in, because I was dominating the clubs at the time, but there was no opening for on-air mixing at the time. So he said, I can get you in driving the van, I'll take it. And I took it, and I'm a hustler, so I was making money off the streets on the van. By the time it was my chance to actually go on air, I had so much money in the streets on the van. I was like, oh man, okay, I do it. That is my goal, to get on air. But so anyway, the morning show comes on, and there was no one to drive the van. I was the only one that could drive it, so I drove them over to 39 at the time, and they were doing this thing called What's in the Box, and it was a big contest, of what was in the box. It was a huge carnival. They had kids and all this stuff out there, and I met the one of the directors over there at 39, and shot him the idea of Street Flavor, and he said, well, okay, do you know anything about TV? And I said, I don't know anything about TV, but I know how to do this show. And he was like, okay, I'll tell you what. He says, I have this show called The Disney Afternoon, and we need a host for it. If you would agree to host that show, I will teach you everything you need to know about TV and how to start Street Flavor. And I was like, man, I'm one of the craziest dudes in radio. You want me to host a kid's show? But remember...
That's what's going to get you in,
So, but anyway, he was like, I just saw you with these kids, man. You chunking balls, you running around. I love kids, I was like, okay. So basically, that's how I started off in TV, hosting a kid show. And no, it was backed up by Disney at the time, but it was a Disney show. So I was a Disney kid, you know. Well, I wouldn't say a kid.
When you say Disney kid,
I was a Disney middle adult, middle-aged 25 adult.
Where you're in that commercial talking about, hey, this is D Solo and you're watching Disney Channel.
That's right. Man, I was dropping videos. I'm telling you, I was not, before I would drop videos, I dropped cartoons. It was Goof Troop. It was Duff Wing Duck. It was, you know, but it was a really, really cool show because it was backed up by Disney and money wasn't a thing.
Yeah.
So I opened up, they like when the Born and Bailey Circus would come, I would open it up. When the anything having to do with Disney, they put me in front of it here in Houston. And it was on every day, Monday through Friday. So a lot of kids, a lot of guys, a lot of people remember me from that Disney afternoon way back before Street Flavor. I was doing a Disney afternoon. So people in Houston that grew up with me, that's why the audience we have is so loyal, is because they've been listening to me and watching me since they were literally kids. You know, it's kids that has graduated. I met in elementary that's graduated and has kids now. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So yeah, but you know, it's a blessing, man. It's a blessing.
Yeah.
So that's kind of like that's how I got into the motion to do Street Flavor. And the guy that I talked to was named Sean Haley. And Sean was a producer, director over there. He kept his word. I learned how to do TV, and he helped me produce the very first episodes of Street Flavor.
Yeah.
And it was a hit. I knew it was gonna be a hit because I was already on the streets of Houston.
Yeah.
I knew that's what we needed. The North was not playing anything about us. They didn't want to hear anything from the South on MTV or BET back then. So it was a must that we had our own, and I was the one that wanted to do it. And you know, God blessed me to step into those shoes and do it. You know?
What was, I obviously walking into Disney Afternoon, I think it was called, you said?
Yes.
Opened the door for you. But what was the initial reaction when Street Flavor aired? What was the
numbers were crazy. You got to remember, I ran radio before I even touched TV. So all my partners was there. We promoted it. You know, it was just an easy process. It was kind of like what needed to be done and who was going to get it done first and the best. You know, and I saw it when I actually didn't go over there to take that Disney Afternoon job. I went over there to do Street Flavor.
Yeah.
And he offered it, and he had a good, valid question. Do you know anything about TV? And I was like, no. But I know how to do this. He was like, you know what? Okay, little man, I tell you what we're going to do. You know, I saw you with these kids, and you're good. You know, he said, and I listened to you on the radio. You ready? He said, but you can do this Disney show. I'll teach you everything you need to know about TV. And it was just a lot of good people there in that building, too. It was right around the corner from the box.
Yeah.
I mean, you could, maybe about 5-10 minutes from the radio station. It used to be on Richmond Avenue back in the day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So obviously it was something, Houston didn't have.
Mm-hmm.
The streets didn't have Street Flavor, you know what I mean? Yeah. As far as the artists, I'm imagining it was easy for them to brace the idea, brace the show.
Yeah.
What was that like?
Well, again, I was already plugged into major artists. I was already interviewing major artists on 97.9 The Box. And everybody, still has to come through the city. I tell everybody right now, this is hip-hop capital. If you're not stamp approved by this city, it's a problem. It's like, why aren't you in Houston? So it's a big deal to have that stamp approval from Houston, Texas, and it goes a long way from anybody. When we leave up out this city, our chest is out, man. We from the H, and everybody in the world know that, and it comes from what, a few people dug in and did, back in the day, man. It really does. Like, we was not taking no for an answer, and we moved as a unit. We still, move as a unit to me, the streets of Houston, it's different, It's just a little different. It's huge, but it's got a small city connection to it.
Yeah. So Street Flavor kicks off in 1992.
Mm-hmm.
Everything's going smooth.
Yeah.
I mean, like I said, you had already had those connections from working at 97.9.
Mm-hmm.
It's all lovely.
Yeah.
And here comes YouTube.
Yeah.
Here comes
yeah.
the internet.
Yeah.
What was that effect like for the show, for yourself?
Well, for me, I never blinked. Is because I knew I could hold Street Flavor down myself. It came to a point where, like right now today, we interview major artists still, but the internet really gets all of that right now. So it really comes down to your connections, and I'm pretty well connected. So we still do major artists, but it's who we know personally now. When the record labels used to have these people come and do it regardless.
Yeah.
You're going over to Street Flavor, you're going 97.9, you're going to 93.7. They don't get a lot of in office interviews at these radio stations anymore because people don't have to do it that way anymore. And you have to have talented people in those booths, or talented people on TV, or hosts like yourself that's talented that can hold your own now. And I had their videos, so.
Yeah.
It didn't really matter to me. I knew how to hold my own, kind of like in this city. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah, because basically the internet and YouTube are like that big bully, right?
Yeah.
They can change the whole industry around.
Yeah.
Change the way artists.
Yeah.
It's like we mentioned earlier, in a good way, in a bad way.
In a bad way, yeah.
In the good way, now the artist doesn't necessarily have to leave Houston for somebody in Canada to know about them.
Yeah.
Right. But it did take away a lot.
I'm gonna tell you what it did, not to interrupt you, but I have a lot of people coming to me saying, "Can you introduce me to the industry?" And that can't be done from your phone.
Yeah.
You have to this is one of those cities you got to get down in the city. And you can be a huge, internet person and be hollow in your city. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That we don't know you on these streets. So it's kind of hard in that manner. But it does make it easier for that artist. In hip hop, you kind of have to cut do them both at the same time. You kind of have to have that presence on the internet, and then you have to get these. That's why so many artists come to Houston, because it's they figure it's a one-stop shop for me to get my weight up in the streets or in hip hop, and somewhat it is.
Yeah. So speaking of these artists, what do you think has been like? What do you think is the biggest struggle for these independent artists? Since you've seen the Bum B's, you've seen Pimp, you've seen everybody in Houston.
Yeah.
What do you think is the biggest struggle for the independent artist that's trying to get to the next level? What are they lacking right now that it's not helping them, even though they're in a big city like Houston?
To me, and I'm old school. To me, they all sound the same. And back in my day, that wasn't cool.
Yeah.
You cannot sound like me, or there's going to be a problem. It's got to be. It's got to be some talent there, bro. You know what I'm saying? And the cream gonna always rise to the top. I'm not about down in the kids that are coming up, because there's some talented people out there, and the guys that are out there that are doing it, they're holding it down. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, just have your own style. You got to be you. It's got to be something new, fresh. Open that makes you a superstar. And it's not a lot of those that are born anyway. So to the independent artist, man, just be you, be different. Be different, be you, and own your brand. It's just so many ways for artists to make money out there now, which is really cool. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of ways to make money.
Every platform.
Every platform. Every
platform,
bro. Every platform. But you at the end of the day, you still have to stand in front of these people. So
Man, see, and I'm glad you brought that up, because I brought this up in the past, and obviously one of the terms that is being overused is you're a hater. Right? And I've told people, I just recently had this conversation. I said, look, bro, just because that Spanish cumbia trap beat worked for the Mexican OT, doesn't mean it's going to work for you.
Exactly.
And I'm seeing that pattern. Like, a lot of Hispanics are doing that. And I'm like,
no, it's not going to work. It's not going to work. And, like, especially in the Hispanic community, like, the precedent in that community was set by Southwark Mexican.
Correct.
And that's still my homie right now today, you know. But I guarantee you, he wouldn't have had right now today if somebody really come out biting his sound and sounding like him. That's gonna be a problem. That's a problem with that generation, you know. So yeah, be original. What you have now, it's okay to take from what he done, but don't clone it.
Correct.
Don't.
Correct.
Don't clone it, bro. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, leave the man a little slack there, you know. But yeah. So, but I do think, as far as growth, that the Hispanic community has the most opportunity to grow.
Yeah.
The most opportunity to grow. My family is diverse. My wife is part Hispanic, part Black. I'm from Corpus Christi, Texas. So I'm always pulling from my essays, man. You know what I'm saying? And, you know, my boy is GT Garza. That's like my dude, you know. GT's my dude. GT is on the intro of Street Flava.
Yeah.
He kills it, too. Matter of fact, we're getting ready to do a new one. We got to change it for another venture that we're doing. But, that community right there is strong, man, and has so much upside to it. You know, we actually started implementing a lot of different Hispanic videos into Street Flava, you know, here recently, you know, so, yeah.
Man, speaking of Houston, of the Houston culture, in 2004, 2005, it was on fire.
Right.
Still Tipping comes out, and then it seemed like everybody was giving each other the torch, like, hey, I did this, it's your turn real quick.
Right.
And it was popping. It was like Houston was where it was at, and everybody knew it. I mean, you had people from everywhere trying to get features.
Right.
And arguably people are going to say, well, you know, the Jay-Z feature came way before that with, you know, Big Pimpin' and whatnot. And it did, because, you know, obviously Bun and Pimp, whatnot.
Yeah.
But 2004, 2005 was that year when everything was going great for Houston. And then we disappeared from you know, from the, what do you want to call it, the major platform.
Yeah.
What do you think caused that?
Like I said, I've seen hip hop grow, and I don't think it was any one cause. Hip hop just moves around. It goes to the hottest city. It goes to where the heat is, and if you don't have it at that time in your city, you just don't have it. A lot of times cities are regrouping. A lot of time, one of the main players in the city that was making these things go, they're not there no more. You know, it's a lot of different things that can happen that can affect the growth of a city as far as when it comes to hip hop. But when it comes to Houston, man, I just think we have our own style. It's just, we don't care, you know. It's so big. It's just a perfect situation because you got Texas, you have Louisiana, and we don't care about anything outside of that because you can make a really, really good living.
Texas alone,
you can go gold, you can go platinum, you can do it. You don't know, and I think that's what has really kept Houston so strong, you know, and so defiant and even cocky, you know, that we really don't care, you know, because we gonna bang our screw down here, we gonna ride them elbows and foes, we gonna do our thing.
Look behind you. Fantastic
foes,
man. The screwhead.
Hey, I came up on them, bro. I'm a Houston. I'm right here, man. I did kindergarten here from Corpus Christi. I did kindergarten here. Graduated from Willow Ridge in '85, and when I drove to school was a Monte Carlo, elbows and voles, Ricardo seat, banging system. You know, it's a culture here.
Houston,
you know, I'm every bit of Houston. You know,
We mentioned how and the reason I was asking that is because we mentioned how the YouTube era and the internet era kind of, you said it didn't impact Street Flava and whatnot, but do you think that had something to do as far as how it impacted that, I guess, those times when when Houston was on top? How did you see that it affected the artists, and how because again, you've been in the streets, you saw how these artists were reacting. What was their reactions like when things were moving and were changing to the digital era?
You know, the guys that I knew that were in the industry, again, a lot of these guys, they still rolling. Your Slim Thugs, your Kikis, your Paul Walls, your Mike Jones, all these guys, they survived because Texas is always going to be behind them boys.
Correct.
And we have our own built-in freeway here. We have our own video shows. We have our own radio shows, you know. So I think smaller markets, it hurt a lot worse than it hurt us.
Yeah.
Because now you have to go to those, you know, to those other cities to get on, and a lot of times that can be hard, you know.
Yeah.
But and another thing about Houston is we've always been pretty much would invite new artists in Houston. This is another place you could come and not have to worry about anything. Is Houston, you know, because you know in some cities you step on a dude's toes, man. You know he you know his own, and here, man, we got 6 more pair at the house. You know, so
it's all good.
It's all good, bro. You good, you know. Yeah. So, but yeah, I think Houston is you know, it's just like the oil field. I mean, the oil industry. As long as that big thing pushing, man, you know, it's hard to slow it down. You know,
Yeah.
COVID, we you know, we lost a lot of people in Houston in COVID, but it rocked us, but not like it did other cities.
Yeah.
You know, not like it did other cities. You know, so,
So I'm talking about everything that you know, the way it affected everything, and again, the internet era, it changed a lot of things.
Yeah.
And I mentioned this to you earlier. 20 plus years of your career. How have you managed to stay so, you know, we still embrace you, we still love street flavor, even if we have that option to watch the music videos on YouTube?
Yeah.
It don't matter. We're still gonna tune in when street flavor comes on.
Right.
What do you think caused that, and how does it feel to know that, like, look, bro, people still love me like it was yesterday?
It's a love affair I have with this city. I've always loved this city. You got to understand, I've been here a long time, but I almost still consider myself an outsider because I'm not from Houston. I came to Houston seeking to do my thing, you know, and Houston, you know, gravitated toward me. And we've been rolling ever since, you know. So it's just the love affair that I have with the city. You know, I love Houston, Texas. You know, is where I grew my wings. Like you look at a lot of things you did when you were younger. I look at a lot of the street flavors like, man, how did these people even watch this? It was garbage. Some of the color was messed up. You know what I'm saying? The videos flying in, crickets up. But, you know, eventually I honed my craft, you know, and got to the point to where, you know, it was ready. You know, now it's a juggernaut. You know, it's completely, it affects so many people now that all I do is, I'm a fan of it. So, but I try to implement the things that I know needs to be implemented as far as what hip hop needs. And it's grown so much. Like we cover so many things, you know, in hip hop. I was at an art gallery, the MAG, you know, one of my partners runs the art gallery down there. You know, all of the paintings in there are done by people of color, and a lot of them are hip hop heads, you know. So, you know, it's from one end to the other. Back in the day, I couldn't imagine going into a art gallery downtown with those expensive paintings, and there be hip hop involved. Hip hop, you know. So
hip hop is such a man. It's probably one of the most influential.
Man,
genres.
It changed everything, bro.
Yeah.
It changed everything, and people that don't believe that they need to check because it changed everything. It's in everything.
Yeah,
everything. Right now, country right now, Dolly Parton and them old school people, they probably, you know, like, it is not your same country music.
No.
You know, I turned on the Country Music Awards and the bass almost knocked me off of my couch. You know what I'm saying? So they putting them hip hop tracks behind them now, bro. You know what I'm saying? And it is built country to another level. Yeah.
I used to joke about that. I used to joke about it with my friends. They were like, bro, this is rap. It's country rap.
It's country rap.
They talking about their big wheels and all that. Like, what do you think they talking about in hip hop?
Country rap, bro. It's country rap. But they were smart enough to, okay, we can't compete with these tracks.
Yeah.
And they then went, okay, well, I'm gonna go ahead and put these tracks up underneath me. And you know, like we used to laugh. I mean, it was some movies back in the day that guys was like, you know, I'm gonna be a country, and you know, we was laughing back then. You know what I'm saying? Now to see these dudes really doing it, I'm like, okay, you know. So, but hey, you know, some of them, hey, I'm telling you, y'all better watch out. Some of them country boys ain't playing with you, man. They got some flow.
They got some,
They got some flow, bro. You know,
with 20 plus years in the industry, bro, especially in Houston, what has been your favorite memory and from what artists did it come from?
Oh man. Well, of course, like the Houston legends, Big Mello, Pimp C. Just meeting Pimp and Bun was the first interview I ever done on Street Flavor. Had a relationship with him, called him when I got the deal, and hey man, y'all need to come and let me interview y'all. We interviewed on a little park bench. It's still there. I passed by the other day over there about 39, but just seeing the effect that different people had on the market when they arrived, when they landed, when they hit here. Pimp and Bun came like sledgehammers through Houston, man. I mean, everybody that back in the day could remember the movement that they had. It was strong, bro. Shout outs to like all the people in Houston that helped me to get to where I am. Of course, like your Jay Prince. Originally starting, had troubles getting videos. And I made one call to Jay, and people still sending videos to me. You know what I'm saying? So, I stand on a lot of shoulders here in Houston. Wicked Cricket. Those are the people that I grew with. National people, man, I've interviewed everybody. Start off with, Matthew Knowles, Beyonce, that movement that they had was great. It was cool covering that. Had a chance to meet Beyonce at a very young age, Kelly, and and the whole crew at a really young age. It was great just seeing them take the world by storm. Patti LaBelle, I had a chance to interview one time, gave me great advice. MC Hammer gave me great advice. Guru, one of the coldest rappers, that to ever live, man. Just, great advice, man, there's been so many people that affected me, man.
Legendary names, man.
Yeah, so many people. John Legend was, one of the guys that record label came and said, "Hey, man, you need to interview this guy." I didn't know who he was at the time, but just sitting down with him after 10 seconds, this guy was gonna be huge, man.
Yeah.
So it's just so many people that have came through. Of course, Jay-Z. Jay-Z, 50 Cent. Ran most of his projects through Street Flavor. Shout out to Lump, my boy Lump. Just a complete networking system here in Houston. That once you get to that level, they got to see you.
Yeah,
they got to see you.
And what's so cool, man, is that Street Flavor, regardless of everything that I just mentioned about the internet and stuff, still on air.
Yeah,
it's still going on.
That's the respect. To me, I think it's just the respect that my people in Houston know. I'm first of all, you've never seen any kind of gossip on Street Flavor. I don't do the gossip. I am strictly about the music. I want to know what you're doing musically. I want to know what you're doing, in your life. That obviously the blessings came from hip hop, so it's all hip hop now.
Yeah.
Slim is building homes now. But believe me, it's got some hip hop in it. You know what I'm saying? People are doing all kind of things. Bun has Trill Burgers now, but believe me, it's hip hop in it.
Yeah.
Just hip hop is steadily growing in Houston, and we've branded it here from the mayor to everybody in Houston. They understand what kind of city he commands. Sylvester Turner is from Detroit, man. So hey. It's all good.
It's all good. He's from Houston now.
He's from HTown, baby.
You mentioned earlier when you mentioned GT does your intro, you said there's another business venture. Is that Street Flavor related? And can you talk about that?
Yeah, it is Street Flavor related, and y'all can give y'all a little input on it. Fox has a network called Fox Soul, and we're in negotiations right now with them to take Street Flavor to Fox Soul. And I do believe it's going to be a tremendous lift for the whole city because it puts you on a whole nother level. Yeah. It puts us on a whole nother level, no matter where we go, whatever network that we're on, it's all Houston. We built it like this to where this is the hub, and you got to come here to get it. So it makes it so much easier to syndicate. Because I'm not in a little off city. This is a big boy.
Yeah.
So a lot of people do want to know what's happening in Houston, but we're going to take it around the nation now,
That's dope.
and hopefully affect them with some of that, Houston, kind of like vibe we got since they've been robbing us for so long. They may as well get it from one of the originals.
Spread the Houston virus around. From somebody that has seen it all, seen this artist, like you mentioned, you mentioned Beyonce with Destiny's Child, before everything went as great as it did for them. What would be your advice for that artist that might be watching and feels unsure of what to do? What would be that advice for them that you would give to them?
Yeah, I think you can. One of the first things you have to get into this industry is confidence. You got to have confidence. My son plays basketball. Shout out to my boy Chucky Brown, down in where's he at? North Carolina, down in North Carolina. But one of the things that one of the coaches told me back in the day, that it's really easy to lose confidence and the hardest thing to gain back. So to be an artist, you have to be confident. You have to know that you know you the shit, So you have to know that, first of all. But once you have that, man, just get in. Don't let nobody stop you. Do not take no for an answer. And it may be pauses, but I tell some, like people that's trying to get in the industry, even if you work in because I didn't really just jump into this industry. I had little odd jobs on the way. But when I made up my mind, and I put everything aside and just went for it. You got to jump off that ledge sooner or later, to get to where you got to go. Yeah. I'm sure you had to do the same thing, you know what I'm saying? So I just, encourage them to take the leap, take the jump, and try to do it as early as possible, because you're gonna need growth. It takes a long time, to get to where you want to go sometime. If they would have told me, what I did pray for when I asked God for the guidance to do Street Flava was longevity. That was one of the things I was praying for. Man, don't just put me in it, Lord, and take me up out of it. So He's blessed me with longevity.
20 plus years.
Yeah, 28 years and running, in the city, and we've grown together to a point where we're national here together. These dudes I rock with here in Houston, man, they some bad boys, that come out of Houston, And the young ones that are coming up right now, they're even tougher, they're smarter, they're more intelligent, they move different. They do have the internet to get them to the next level. Yeah. And that's why you're seeing these artists come out right now that's phenomenal here in Houston, they're gonna have trouble out of the city in the future. Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, man, once again, I appreciate your time, bro. It was an honor to have you on. It's an honor to have you on, like I mentioned, selfishly. Yeah. You had a big impact in my life. Man. And it's always dope to be able to sit down and have the conversation. Cause who would have thought, right? Who would have thought? I'm telling you, yeah. But you know what? I get that a lot, because I was out there, I was in those schools. I'm still in the schools. I still, talk, and try to talk to as many people I can that, want to know how to get into this industry. And we're on tonight. Matter of fact, it's a big show on tonight. Kyle Wayne, we went to the heart of the Trey and interviewed one of the toughest artists. I wouldn't even say, I can't even limit Kyle Wayne to Houston, but one of the toughest rap artists I've ever heard in my life. Yeah. This dude is out of 3rd Ward, so we went to 3rd Ward to hang out with him. He takes us through the whole Trey, drops all of his legendary videos. Tonight, 11 o'clock, My 20. Tune in, and you'll see just what he's talking about. Yeah. A lot of people, a lot of the young people, they don't know Street Flava on that level, but when they watch it, they're hooked. Yeah. And we are making a bigger effort to be more seen on social media. I can tell you, I was leery of social media for a long time, so I kept Street Flava kind of like out of the light of social media until I understood what it really could do. Yeah. Now I understand it. It's all social media now. So, man, and congratulations to you and what you're doing, brother. Thank you. You obviously, jumped off that ledge and did your motherfucking thing. Boy, you're doing your thing, So thank you. Congratulations, and I'll look forward to coming on again whenever you want. For sure. Yeah, we'll have you on, have the update to see, whenever you make the transition to the next show. Absolutely. And again, I appreciate your time. Mm-hmm. If you don't know, you need to tune in tonight. I'm gonna cut this I'm gonna cut this clip for tonight. You need to tune in tonight, My 20. 11 o'clock. Street Flava, 11 o'clock. Tune in. If it's your first time for whatever reason, tune in. D Solo, Street Flava. Hey, man. Appreciate you. Thanks.